All right, so we're live now. So tonight I just want to do a little sort of brainstorming and just mind dump of everything that kind of you guys were doing in your schools this year with Google Apps, because I know one of you is well, Trailside, you guys are a LCPS Google school, correct?
That is,
Sorry, you broke up there.
oh yeah, we are LCPS Google School.
Okay, so you are the LCPS, and then Bill, your schools bought their own domain um, to use Google Apps for Education, so you guys have complete control of everything. And have you guys gone out and given students accounts in your
Yeah,
domain, or yeah,
every student has an account, but we did not give them email.
yeah, okay. So how was that rollout as far as enabling all your students? Did you do it at one time, or kind of roll it out by grade?
Um, well, we gave them all access simultaneously through resource, but there's 25 teachers that are using apps regularly, so those 25 teachers have really pushed those kids to access it regularly.
Okay. Have they had
Bill,
any? Oh,
have you are you open to the public, or is your domain locked down to where you can only share within your domain?
Yeah, nobody locked it down.
so students they can only share with each other, but can they share outside?
Cannot.
Like okay, so it's really locked down.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That's
well, I just had a couple.
that's what
I, I was got a little delay there. Sorry. Go ahead, Heather. You had a question?
Oh no, I was just going to say LCPS domain is still locked down too.
Well, I thought you could share outside the domain, or you could share in. Maybe that's what it was. So like if I use my personal account, I can
You
share
can
a
share
document.
yeah,
That's
you
right.
can share into the domain, but not out of the domain.
Okay. All right. Well, I just had a couple questions because I only planned for about a half hour tonight on this. I was hoping more people would join us. I'm sure some people are delayed. I know it took me 2 hours last week to get home from 11 miles, so you never know.
That's
So
right.
I just want to see something that you tried this year that worked well in the Google Apps domain for your school. Just something you just kind of said, I just want to try it out, see how it goes, and it kind of beat your expectations. So either one of you can start.
Heather, you can start.
Google the key to get teachers involved in the domain in Google Apps for Education, because it was so user-friendly and teachers realized they could grade digitally and return their student papers very easily. And it maintained all the grades, and they could send out announcements and everything to their students.
So it's very
Yeah, I think I'd have
streamlined
to.
and easy to respond. Go ahead, Bill.
I'd have to agree with that. I think Google Classroom. I think we started out with 5. We quickly grew to 20, and then by the end of the school year, we had 25 regular teacher users of Google Classroom. And then I think once we started incorporating Flubaroo as an add-on, it really helped the teachers with just basic formative assessments to collect their data real quickly, import it through Excel, and then compare their information when we do common assessments. So I think Classroom was huge for us this year.
Yeah, sadly, I've never gotten to really use Classroom, just kind of mess around with it a little bit. And then on Friday at Active Lawn, I got to see it in action a little bit. It's sort of a very watered down version of Vision, and I think it's a great way for teachers to get introduced to that whole sort of paperless LMS, just kind of
Yeah,
hands-off type
absolutely.
approach.
Yeah, it was, my school was going 100% vision, and I had a lot of teachers that weren't ready to teach with a virtual platform. and Google Classroom made it a little bit more approachable.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to use, and I know one of the big things that people complained about at the beginning was not being able to add co-teachers. I know that's now added feature in there recently, so now you don't have to be the only person controlling your class. You can add another co-teacher in there to help out.
Yeah, that was a huge feature. The latest upgrades of Classroom, I think it was back in April, was huge for teachers. The teachers that hadn't jumped on board got on board after that.
Cool. Yeah, I was one of those things like I wish I could use more in my role, but I just haven't found a big use for it yet because I don't have students. So maybe I'll try with some principals.
I started using it with my professional development for teachers as well because it was a one-stop shop and it was really easy for teachers to navigate.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. We used it. Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry, I must have a delay. We used it for all of our faculty meetings throughout the year also because that was our PD, and it made it real easy to differentiate. So if we had 3 or 4 different topics that we wanted to cover, we just created a rotation, and every month a teacher would be in a different classroom for a different module. So I agree with that PD model piece.
Yeah. Nice. So that's on that same note, but going the opposite direction, was there something you guys tried this year that didn't go really well as far as something you wanted to roll out with your staff related to, something in Google that you wanted to try out and just didn't really work the first time and never really got back around to using it or just kind of flopped?
I think everything that we tried at Trailside was success. What I didn't directly roll out to teachers, they discovered themselves. Add-ons were very big this year. Google provides the addition of the add-ons and the apps that made the GAFE domain even more successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think we had anything that wasn't a success also. I agree, teachers who were bought in to learning and trying new things, picked up new things quickly, they shared with each other. We had a quick community by October probably of sharers, people reposting and retweeting and putting stuff up on Instagram. So real quickly we got a lot of ideas going around the school, and I think everybody caught on quickly. I would expect next year we'll probably move away from using our share drive and probably move to Google Drive just so that everybody can access whatever they want, wherever they want.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
We found the same. We're finding the same thing. I came with a staff of from all different schools. Some had used Google, some had not. And everybody just found the appropriate place for everything. School documents were accessible from home.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's a great lead into my next question because you talked about teachers being able to share with each other. Were there any resources outside of just each other that the teachers were very familiar with or starting to use and referencing, like the GEG communities or the just searching on Google for YouTube videos of how to do something, or was it just sort of trial and error?
I found specific communities that were applicable for different teachers, and I would suggest them to join the communities, whether they wanted to kind of lurk or if they wanted to be an active participant, and many of them jumped on board with the communities.
I think as the year progressed, we had a lot of teachers using Hangouts more often. It started even in-house, where they'd be doing some of their interviews maybe with a principal or a guidance counselor from a classroom, and then started working with some schools outside of Stonehill. And I think next year when we move towards more of a PBL model, I think Hangouts is going to be one of the bigger components for how teachers and classrooms communicate outside of the building, maybe outside of the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I love about Hangouts is just they're so easy to use, and at Active Law, and I did a presentation on Hangouts. And one of the things I think a lot of elementary schools picked up on was what a cool way to do their morning announcements. Because I explained one of the schools I had talked to back in, I think it was February at a Google Summit. The principal is the host of the Hangout, and then sometimes a guidance counselor, a teacher, and then a student kind of join the Hangout. And the student gives the weather, or they tell a joke of the day, and the counselor gives the sort of announcements. They they do like an exercise together, and it's all free. And it's so great about it is that you can plan it so far in advance. They plan out 2 weeks at a time. So the teachers have the hyperlinks all ready to go that morning. Just click on it and they're rolling.
Yep, that's a great idea.
Yeah, we do something like that. We have a compass period. It's kind of like an advisory.
Mm-hmm.
And our teachers just go into the folder, and everything for the week or 2 weeks is already in there, and they can kind of preview it at their own pace.
Yeah. And another great thing about the Hangouts is that it automatically records your Hangout and then it archives it, so you can always go back and reference any videos. You can sort of pre-plan your PD for Google Classroom if that's what you're going to use, and just have those all ready to go well in advance.
Yeah.
So, but I did want to show you this. I've been meaning to watch these videos because I remember the conference was back in May, and I finally got around to watching some of them, and I had this like aha moment just yesterday, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all. And we'll go here to this education on error. Can you see my screen here? Can you guys see my screen?
I can't.
You can't? You're still on the phone, huh? All right, well, there was this thing called Education on Air back in early May, and it was a 2-day conference, and all the presentations, I guess, were done on Hangouts on Air. And what's cool about it, they're broken up by different groups, so IT administrator, educator, anybody. You can sort by themes and age and all that. And the one I was really interested in watching was about data. And Jay Atwood was actually our team leader in the Google Teacher Academy in Stockholm 2 years ago, so I kind of know him. And he's always been sort of the data guru guy. He gave me some really good ideas when I was there about doing the walkthrough analyses for our schools. And I highly recommend watching this one because he really talked about some cool stuff you can do, such as like pivot tables. And that's one thing I'm hoping to try out next year, is using pivot tables, because there's been some really good scripts out there to do some analyses, but they're really clunky, and they run most of the time, but you constantly have to check on them. And pivot tables, I didn't realize, they actually update automatically. Basically, what a pivot table does, I'll go to a sample here for you. I know I have one here somewhere. I have many tabs, so the sample I have on my screen here is just like some walkthrough data from one school, and it's just loads and loads of questions and answers. And in a pivot table, it does the count for you. So there's 3 NAs, 3 not observed, and 274 yeses for this particular question. And if I go back here, and I think it's, I remember it's this first question here. No, maybe not. I can't remember which question it was. But anyway, if I were to update, as the form was submitted, these numbers would update, and my graph would automatically change.
Wow.
And I'm not running a script or anything, so it's so quick and easy to build. And then I also tried it out with the monthly approach here, which is a little bit longer, but I get the same result just using pivot tables. It does a total for all the September dates with the responses. And I have the totals going over here, and then I just build my chart that way. And I've tested it out several times, and it seems to work great. Which is pretty awesome, because I'm tired of scripts kind of breaking down on me and things getting updated in the code, and then you have to go in and try and fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, where'd you guys go? There's my Hangout. So that was one thing I thought was pretty cool. And the education there, I can share that link with you guys afterwards and show you.
Yeah.
Just go through there's tons of videos. I think there's must be 30 or 40 each of the days and cover various topics, so pretty cool stuff to reference.
Yeah, I have to say at the end of the year, my tracking of all these great things that Google's put out has slowed down a little bit.
Oh, you mean all the updates they're making?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure come August there's going to be some major rollouts. They always seem to like hit right before the school year starts because they want to
That's
make it
when
to the end of the
classrooms
school
come
year.
out.
Exactly. It was very well timed. There's one other thing I was going to show you here too that I thought was pretty cool. Ah, there we go. Let me share my screen with you guys again. All right. So this is something else I learned from that recording I was just showing you. Checkboxes. If you ever use a checkbox in a Google form, all the answers they select are kind of clumped together in one cell. So it's really hard to kind of count how many times a certain choice was made. If you want to kind of look at that kind of data. And a lot of schools I've talked out of when they're doing the walkthroughs in particular don't use checkboxes because you get these clusters and the data is always different. But from this video, there's a really cool little formula right here. In this sheet that he shares with you in the video, you can get a copy of yourself. There's a really simple formula right here, this count if.
Oh yeah, I use that.
And if the key there is, let me go ahead and put this in here for red. The key here is if you put the term in the asterisk there, it looks down that column and counts up how many times red appears regardless if it's combined or by itself.
Oh, that's fair.
So you can just kind of copy that down and then just go here to blue and then change red to blue, and it counts it, and then green, white. The only other way I found out how to do this was to use this split formula, which is a real pain, because what it does is it splits up each one of these answer choices and makes it puts it into its own cell, and it goes across the row. So if you have like someone who selected 10 choices, it makes 10 columns in that particular row, and it's really just kind of hard and disorganized and really just overwhelming to look at. So that was just something cool. Like, oh my God, how did I not realize that before? So a little trick there to use and show off to your teachers.
Nice.
Sometimes checkboxes come in really handy, especially if you're using it for formative assessment. But you want to be able to, like on the SOLs, you can do your sort of multiple response choices there, where it's an all or nothing kind of thing.
Yeah, sorting the data on a school level as well, that could come in handy.
Yeah, because there's some cases where you're going to want to have checkboxes for when people choose as many as they want. If you're doing like a PD session and there's multiple sessions, 2 or 3. So a little friendly hint there from me.
Always looking for friendly hints.
Oh yeah. So just my last 2 questions for you then. As this, I know the school year just ended, but I know people are going to be excited about next school year, right? So I was thinking,
Of course.
What's something that you're going to try and, or how are you going to support your staff next year? As you're kind of now in your 2nd year with Google Apps, to kind of take it to the next level. Have you thought about any of that?
Actually, yeah. I have a lot of teachers that are looking to do centers and flipping the classroom a little bit more on a new level. So I want to get them used to using YouTube and having their own channel to make things a little more organized and useful for them.
Cool, and I don't know if you know that in YouTube too, there's also a way from students can email their videos to a unique email address, and it automatically uploads it to that teacher's YouTube channel.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's a good feature. I'll have to pick your brain about that.
Yeah. You kind of have to dig around in the YouTube channel settings to get that email address, but it's pretty cool. It's good. It's a kind of a long email address. It's not really anything that's intuitive.
Uh-huh.
But if they create a video and they email it to that address, it automatically drops it into that channel.
Wow, that would be really cool. Can you
Hmm.
preset the settings so it would be secure or private
Private.
until otherwise marked?
Yes, I believe so.
Sounds beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably want to make everything private till you have a chance to look at it.
Yeah, that could get dangerous if you don't.
Yeah. How about you, Bill? Any plans for the new way to support your teachers or kind of to expand your scope?
One of our PD days when the teachers come back is already set up with we're going to have 4 different sessions for using different aspects of Google to um, try and hit all their different levels. You know, those who are just beginning and those who are more advanced. We've also been talking to Google, who was out with us mid-year this year. I think they're coming back out to see us in September to work with us on Classroom again. So I think those are our big things right now.
Awesome. Are they going to bring some free Google stuff for you?
I'm hoping they didn't bring
Some
much
Google
last time.
swag.
Google swag, yeah.
That's
there you
right.
go. All right. Well, my last question then is, how would you summarize overall your staff's and students' reaction to using Google Apps this school year?
I think they realized how easy it is to implement and use in the classroom. The students find it intuitive, and it's easier for them to try to use Google Classroom than our online Moodle.
Hmm. So the students push the teachers, or is it kind of a push-pull for everybody?
I think the students got a taste in one class and pushed other teachers into using it because they saw the benefits of it and it made their life easier.
Hmm.
And then once the teachers realized how easy it was to use, they started integrating it.
Sixth graders have a pretty easy life, but got
Well,
anything
we also
easier, huh?
have 7th and 8th graders, you know,
Yeah.
especially as they're moving on to high school, and a lot of the classrooms are in high school use the Moodle and online platforms.
That's a good introduction to online learning.
Mhm.
Cool. All right, well, I'll shift over to Bill then.
I think, I thought it was an easy transition for the teachers, and once they were comfortable with it, it was easy for the students. I think also the fact that we've been kind of open access 4G for the last 3 years helped, because we didn't have to get teachers bought into using technology or wanting technology. They already had it. The kids already had access. So I think next year, a lot of the kids who got it this year are going to push teachers to use it. And the teachers who used it, you know, they find it so easy to access all the different programs and upload it to Google Classroom and access their files whenever they want and organize their files. I think because it's kind of all-encompassing, it makes it a little bit easier than trying to bring it from one file, you know, in a different format, Excel or Word or whatever. When it's right there, and you can make your own surveys and your own quizzes or your own assessments, and you can do all those add-ons. I think when they see all those tools, I think it's just going to grow exponentially.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, it's always good to hear the good experiences, and you know, it's like anything. There's a learning curve, and some people are. You can have your people who latch on real quickly, and then others that kind of struggle along. But once they get familiar and find something that really saves them time and works well, they really get going with it. So
Right.
There's very few things I found with Google that are impossible or so hard to figure out. You just kind of give up. You just kind of keep trying, and if you can't figure it out yourself, you just do a quick search, and there's videos and step-by-step guides that everybody creates. So it's open source in that way.
Yeah.
So. Well, cool. I'd offer you guys one of these cool GEG T-shirts, but you already have one, so
And we appreciate it.
We'll have to get some new people on these Hangouts here, so kind of expand our audience.
Absolutely.
But I appreciate you taking some time this evening to kind of chat and share some ideas out there, and hopefully we get some people watching the recording here and go from there.
And maybe over the summer we can start building that community, at least within the school system, and start doing some more face-to-face sharing.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm really hoping we can get sort of a face-to-face mini Google Summit going. I've already picked the brain of a few people that have connections in some really cool places that I think would be a great venue to host something like that. So,
yep.
Stay tuned.
That'd be awesome.
I'll be recruiting you.
Very cool.
All right, well, thanks for joining me tonight, and hope you guys have a good night, and have a good summer, Heather, and don't rub it in too much.
She's gone again.
She's gone. All right. Well, have a good night. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.